You have 10 minutes to show someone from 1995 stuff on your phone to blow their mind as much as possible. What do you show them? I had a pager in 1995. I'd be impressed with just a phone and camera. Yeah. I was going to say just my phone itself would occupy the 10 minutes and then some. Yes. Back in 1995, film cameras still dominated the market, as memory and quality limitations generally made digital cameras inferior. Then you show up with a small device, not even a centimeter thick, which somehow is able to take photos and videos with a quality comparable to the high-end cameras on the market at the time, while applying filters in real time. And it can store thousands upon thousands of pictures in internal memory. Google Street View is something that's pretty simple but would absolutely melt people's minds back then. Being able to see every street in a city across the planet. Incredible. Before Google Street View was even available on maps, it was Google Earth, a standalone app that let you explore the planet and zoom from space, all the way down to Street View. I spent hours in that app, completely amazed at what Google had made available to everyday people. Prior to that app, we just assumed scenes in movies like in Men in Black, when he zoomed into his wife gardening from space, was a total embellishment. So back in 2010, my great-grandfather was around 90. We had him over for dinner one evening and my father and I showed him this new thing called Google Street View. He was absolutely mind-blown and couldn't believe that technology had come so far, and I could see genuine excitement in his eyes about future technologies to come. He unfortunately passed away before he could see things like smartphones, VR and all that, but I can never forget the joy of seeing amazement like that. Edit. Okay, I removed the information about my great-grandfather serving in WW2 and other unnecessary info since I guess it has nothing to do with the story. I just wanted to give a point of reference to show what he had to live through the 20th century and contrast it with the technology today. One of two things. 1. Have them ask me a random question. Then I repeat the question, using voice to text, and Google the answer. 2. Load up Google Maps satellite mode and zoom into a famous location. Then switch to Street View and walk around. Are we assuming we have a data connection? Edit. For all the idiots, her dare who doesn't have a data connection. What I am asking is, are we in 1995 or are they in 2020? Jesus Christ, some of these people are morons. Their future Facebook page. Wait. Why was this page made a memorial in 2008? Sorry bud. That's a great answer. The ability to backspace on the calculator would be enough for me in 1995. The Casio VPAM calculator I use today is from 1995 or a little before. Just a standard scientific calculator, not graphing or anything. It has a del key for backspacing. I must say I was pretty impressed at the time. Or just tell them to type in the year and add 56,013. Caret, then turn it upside down. Apple and Amazon stock prices. That, and tell them about Bitcoin. Amazon didn't go public until 1997. Most people in 1995 probably wouldn't have even heard of them. Apple was at least known by most as a niche computer company. Google Translate. Point it at a sign written in Spanish and watch it translate into English before their eyes. Edit. For those who don't know, yes, it's a real app. The first time I used it I was at a Peruvian restaurant with my in-laws. We sat down and I saw that the menu was in Spanish. Not speaking Spanish, I remembered that I had Google Translate on my phone. I opened the app, chose Spanish, and pointed the camera at the menu expecting to take a photo of it and have it translated. Then I looked at the camera and realized that I did have an English menu after all because it was all in English. But that didn't seem right, so I looked at my menu again without my phone and, yes, still Spanish. I went back and forth a couple of times before I realized it was translating in real time. The future punched me hard in the mouth that day, my friends. Very hard. I was thinking either this or an app that lets you track the stars, planes, satellites, and such in the sky. I've shown that to people in 2020 who got really wide-eyed and excited. It's surprising how many people haven't seen that feature yet. Those insane pictures of space you can find on Google and the image of the black hole. Why does everyone show porn as their second offering? In 2007, when Steve Jobs introduced the iPhone, the audience gasped when he showed you can scroll by sliding your finger on the screen and it comes to a smooth stop. So that would be interesting. Just spent way too long scrolling back and forth just to think about it right now. Pinch to zoom was the big one, I think. When people saw it, they were in love. I mean, before that, we really didn't have a good way to look at pictures honestly. Just showing them a phone would be sufficient. Mobiles were still quite big, pages were the thing. The Game Boy was LCD and monochromatic. Color handheld consoles weren't great. Portable TVs were still not great, so streaming a vid would be impressive. Digital cameras were in their infancy with very low res and high prices. A nice big music collection instantly accessible instead of having to own a big vinyl, cassette or CD collection. Yes. I remember I had a professor in 2007 who got an iPhone the very first weekend and showed it to me a few days after. It was like seeing something from the future. And that thing looks like a brick compared to phones today. It's hard to explain what a huge deal that was when smartphones came out. Heck, cell phones in 1995 were not super common either. The idea that calling would be secondary as a feature would be fascinating sociologically on its own. Seriously, and don't forget about having access to the internet. You literally hold in the palm of your hand a device that can access an insane amount of knowledge in seconds back in a time when most people didn't have the internet, and for those that did, pages usually took a while to load. Google Maps. So, in the future, there's gonna be a road over there. Wow. I had a friend who, even in a city he'd lived in for ages, always carried maps on him. That way, you could just tell him where you were, if you were meeting up, and he'd find you no problem. You'd emerge from a party at 2 in the afternoon out of some flat you'd gone into the previous evening, on the other side of town, and just have to figure out how to get home. He never had that problem, but he was the only person I ever saw doing that. And #X200B, nowadays, I always see people struggling with Google Maps somehow, because they don't know their cardinal directions and have never learned to use landmarks to get around. Back in the day, you either had a map, or you had no clue where you were and had to use street names, landmarks and helpful people to get to where you were going. The phone. And the internet. That your phone is a computer, more powerful than a room full of desktops. Not a supercomputer. In 1995, not everyone had an email address. Not everyone had a computer at their workstation. Good times. And these are memes. No, they're funny in the future, I promise. Prequel memes with absolutely no context or knowledge of the prequel trilogy. Remember how your English teacher was trying to get you to stop using clichés and focus on sincere, original thoughts? Screw that, we added pictures and doubled down on that shit. I'd rickroll them. Not only they will be shocked from seeing my smartphone playing high-quality video with crisp audio, they'll also realize years later on that they've been rickrolled. Imagine realizing someone from the future came back just to rickroll you. What if Rick Astley was a time traveler and has been trolling us all along? Show a YouTuber doing some high-level engineering stuff on a computer. More like people on YouTube doing some dumb shit and tell them that's what people do for living in 2020. I will show them the calculator on my phone. I think it will be enough. I still remember my teacher saying, "Don't use calculators for the test, it's not like you gonna have one in your pocket the whole time." Well, teachers don't know everything, I guess. In 1985 I had a credit card-sized calculator that pretty much was always in my bag. http://www.vintagecalculators.com/html/CassiaMinicard_LC-78.html. Voice assistants like Siri, Alexa, what have you. Doesn't look like much, but to 1995, it was pure science fiction. Bonus points for a self-driving electric car. Shazam. Still blows my mind. Doom Eternal gameplay footage. Going from the original Doom to that would be mind-boggling, especially in that era. Hopefully this is someone from 1995 who played Doom. The Domino's Pizza Tracker Carrot trademark. Pizza in quality control for 45 minutes, then delivered. Hey, Siri, search the web for literally anything. Ding ding. Okay, here are some results for that thing you asked about. See? We live in Star Trek. Now go away, because it's considered rude to look at other people's phones. Starts yelling at your phone, "Hey Siri, show me Star Trek porn." Okay, here are some results from your browser history. Dude. My father died in 1996 and he was still blown away by CDs. As soon as I pulled my phone out of my pocket, he would freak out. The first black president. Then VR porn. Then deepfake VR porn with the first black president. I was gonna say a Falcon 9 booster landing upright on a boat and an electric car launched to a fucking solar orbit higher than that of Mars in order to show how far technology has gone, but VR porn sums up both. Technology and society as well. The phone itself. I hate to say this trite phrase, but I can't believe I had to scroll down this far to find this. Are people here too young to remember what cell phones looked like in 1995? They were mostly bricks with external antennas still, the flip phone was still innovative. There weren't even primitive smartphones yet, *1 PDAs as separate devices were just taking off, all in black and white with a mandatory stylus. The Newton only came out in 1992, and the Palm Pilot wouldn't appear until 1996. A full-color glass touchscreen with more processing power than any desktop machine of the day would blow people's minds. This was the day of Pentiums and Voodoo GFX cards. *1. Another poster pointed out the IBM Simon existed back then, but it only had a production run of about 50K and was not well known. 9/11 news broadcast. Thought question: if you found out about the events of 9/11 on the 9th of April 2001, 1 week before, what would you do to stop the events from happening? 3D printers. That Ross cheats on Rachel in the next season. They were on a break. My 5 terabytes of hentai. What about 5 pedobytes of loli? Probably FaceTime and Netflix. Pornhub. Blow their mind and their load. Property prices. Spotify. First black president followed by President Trump. Show them a whole bunch of scenes from Ready Player One and tell them it's how the world will be in 2010. Everyone will think they're a madman. Picture of their offspring. Bruce Jenner, Olympic hero, is Caitlyn Jenner now. Donald Trump, the tabloid joke, beats Hillary Clinton, the president's wife, in the 2016 election. 9/11. Even better if the person you show is Robert Kardashian. Photos of themselves from now. How much of their personal information is publicly accessible via a Google search, Uber or other on-demand services that automatically bring a service into your life in real time? FaceTime or other video on-demand apps for meetings, conversations. Ookla 14.4K on dial-up. Check this out. A quick summary, timeline of news from the past 20 years, 9/11, Enron, never-ending wars, the 2008 bubble crash, Trump, 10 stocks to invest in and when, etc. Their LinkedIn profile, i.e. Is this where you want to be in 25 years? Show him what Bitcoin is. Tell him to invest and meet me in 10 minutes. Okay, so in just under 15 years, there will be this magic cryptocurrency on the internet, and if you invest. The internet. Sigh, yes, that AOL thing. It becomes big, I swear. No, I don't know what you're supposed to do with your prime earning years in the meantime. Just don't invest in airlines. Trust me. Showing them my phone should blow their minds enough, right? Don't wanna kill people, lol.